today. You guys have me here instead of Greg. Greg explained earlier he's getting some blood work done. So you're stuck with me for the conversation. But my lovely guest is WL Hawkin. I always want to add an S to it. I'm so sorry. I tried really hard not to. But how are you today? How are you doing?
I am great. Thank you. And that was a very exciting introduction there with all the comic music and everything there.
Oh, yes. No, it's definitely our pride and joy. I take a lot of credit for that. I didn't put it together, but I picked the music because, yeah, I felt like if you're going to do like a conversation or the Comic-Con realm, you need to have some, banging music, right? So I love it. Hey, Julie, how are you? So you are an author, but you write my kind of stuff. So you write romance, suspense, thrillers, and a series. And so tell us a little bit about how long have you been writing?
Oh gosh. Well, I've always been writing. So since high school, which I won't tell you how long ago that was, but yeah, I wrote poetry, I wrote songs, and then in my 30s, I wrote my first novel, which weirdly enough has become my latest release 30 years later.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So I rewrote it. I rewrote it a couple of years ago and released it. And that's the romantic suspense. But in between that, I started teaching high school, and it was like so stressful. Really, don't be an introvert and teach high school people. It's not good.
Wow.
Anyway, so I was coming home every night and watching Big Bang Theory and like this on the couch and just like losing my mind. So anyway, I came up with this Wicca coven who solve murders, and that's the Hollystone coven. And the characters, especially Estrada, who I kind of fell in love with and who everybody falls in love with, has just stayed with me for many years. So yeah, I've got 4 books in that. It's more of a serial, I'm told, than a series because I kind of follow him. And
okay.
Yeah. So whatever he's up to, I'm just hanging in there listening and watching like a voyeur and telling his story.
Oh, see, I love that. And I love that you have, it's a coven, from what that Greg sent me and what I know about you, because I've had the pleasure of talking with you before. So where did that idea come from? What was the inspiration that sparked this serial that you have?
Right. So it's kind of interesting. So way back then I was like, it was quite a while ago. And I was going to write a story about a girl that was kidnapped by a priest. And I always write about priesty things, just it's like backstory for me. And I had pitched it at a workshop, and the agent said, it's too cliche, like you need something else. So I'm like, okay, I need a bunch of other possibilities for a murder here. So I need at least 3 people who might have committed a murder. And then I ended up just creating this coven because I needed some more characters. But the characters that came through were so strong, like right off the top, Estrada and Michael, that really they've just become the focus of this whole thing. Estrada's a bisexual magician and a high priest at Hollystone Coven, and his lover, best friend, is Michael Stryker, and he's a really interesting guy who likes to play like he's a vampire and is the manager of a pretty psychedelic goth club in Vancouver. So they get into a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I can imagine, I mean, I'm all about, pretending to be a vampire nocturnal. I'm doing good to stay up late. I could do that, but I love that. That's so interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
That is really kind of what drives, is you just follow their story and crazy things that they're up to. So what kind of research went into these books, if any?
Well, look, I've been doing Wicca kind of stuff for a long time. Wicca, Druidry, all of that. I'm a seeker of the mystic things, and I've done mediumship and all those things. So that was part of the research. But I also my characters always travel. So in the first book, the girl does get in fact kidnapped. I won't say if it's by the priest or not, but I kept the girl. I added the coven, okay, and she does get kidnapped, and she does have a serial killer after her, and the coven priest Estrada goes to Ireland to save her. So I did lots of research in Ireland, which is one of my favorite places in the world. So
I love
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
love my daughter's coming to the door, so to add to
she is.
suspense, right? Of course she is. That's just how it's how it's going for me today. That's just how it's rolling. Okay.
I like how you pick her up with one hand.
There's just it's how it goes. It's just it's
You know what? I have a 18-month-old grandson, and I carry him like a football under my arm because that's just the easiest way to haul him around.
I'm telling you, sometimes you just got to contain them, and if
Yeah.
just grab him with one arm, that's working,
Yeah,
that's
there you
definitely
go.
working. But
Yes.
what is next for you? I mean, you mentioned that you have 4 books out. How long do you think that your serial is going to go?
Right. Well, like I have those 4, and I just actually started writing book 5. So I can just kind of swing it through. Like, so in book 1, they go to Ireland. In book 2, another guy in the coven gets arrested for murder in Scotland. So then they go to Scotland to get him out. And it's called To Sleep with Stones because it has the big standing stones in it and everything. And then while they're in Scotland, while Estrada's away, his lover there, Michael Stryker, finds out that vampires are like actually real, and and gets targeted by a very vicious vampire who wants revenge. Okay.
Nice. You had vampires are real.
Yeah. Vampires are real, and this one's got my baby. That's one of the key lines.
Oh man. Oh
yeah,
my
because in book 3, the vampire does in fact kidnap Estrada's baby, and then they all end up going to rescue his baby. Yeah. In book 4, we all time travel back to Iron Age Ireland to rescue the archaeologist from book 2. So this is like a real crazy menage I've got going on in these books. And right now, so when they came back at the end of book 4, there was a big cliffhanger where they time traveled back, but they came back at a time before book 3 actually happened. So what's happened is that Estrada now has the option. He can now make an epic do-over of book 3. Okay. So that's what I'm doing right now is they just landed back in Ireland, and I've just picked that up in the last couple of weeks. And I've written like 6 scenes already. It's just starting to
just come, right?
Yeah. So they're in Dublin right now. And I'm trying to figure out how to get them back home because they have no ID. They just time traveled, right? So they have no stuff.
Well, stuff's important, but in time travel, I could see how it would get lost. I could definitely see that 100%. But your imagination is so creative, and I love that because I haven't read or heard of many other books that are like this, right? Which is I like that more like unique aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your publishing journey like? Did you self-publish? Did you traditionally publish? What was that like for you?
Right. Well, when I started with To Charm a Killer way back when, I did send it around to a few people, but in those days, urban fantasy wasn't as big a deal as it is now. And so I got some bites, but I was like, I just want to publish this. So I did the self-publishing thing. And then I discovered after that if you indie publish your first book in a series, they don't want to touch any of your other books in that series. Right. So something good for people to know when they're thinking about, should I indie publish or not? So I ended up just really going for it. And I just yeah, so I'm an indie publisher. I'm pretty good at it now, I'm going to say, because I've been doing it a while. And I do everything myself. I do my own format and book design and everything else. So yeah,
I
like,
love that. I love that. Indie and like small press authors is my
mhm,
happy space. Like Mickey will tell you that. That's my Amy happy
mhm,
place. But I love that because I think then I'm a huge advocate for it because I think then you have more control over the quality that you put out in a book and it's
yeah,
your standards. And I think that that's important because everybody, even publishers, right? We all have different standards. So I'm a huge advocate for indie or self-published. So kudos to you. Look at you. And you format and everything yourself.
yes,
I love that.
yeah, and formatting in Word, which is like
Ooh,
rip your
oh
hair
my,
out kind of stuff.
yes.
But I did that. I did formatting in my own stuff in Word for years. I just bought Atticus because I really like Dave Chesson, and Atticus is this great new program that just makes life so much easier. But yeah, before that I was doing Word. And then the covers, when I got to the end of book 3, I had a trilogy, and then I'm like, oh, there's a book 4. Oh. So a friend of mine who's a graphic artist, we got together and decided to make them tattoos. So I don't know, you've probably seen them, but these are all tattoos that the
Oh
characters wear.
wow.
So each tattoo is from a character, and on the back it has the paragraph that describes the tattoo. And so when we did these, it was really fun because I just sent her a paragraph and said, here, can you draw a tattoo from this? And that's what she did. So really
I
exciting.
love that. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think that is part of the fun of being an indie author, is that you do, and an indie publisher, is that you do have that control over everything. And I can say, yeah, I want to change my covers. I want them all to do this. And they
Yeah,
do.
the flexibility of it, right? The flexibility, and it's almost like, your creativity is abound. I guess it's not bound or constricted. You can more just kind of do whatever you want to the quality and standards that you have.
Yeah.
Which is what I like. I don't like being confined. I'm
No,
not
I hear you.
in those spaces. So
Yeah. And if there's any pressure to come up with a book a year, it's coming from you and not from somebody else saying, okay, no, we need another book out of you, and it needs to be this genre.
yeah.
Because I flip around all the time. Like since I've been writing this series, I've also written Lure, which is the one I did 30 years ago, and that's my latest release. And I've also completed another book called Ghostlight, which is YA, and it's about some of my experiences as a lighthouse keeper on the West Coast.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
I love that. To me, that would be like, I find that would be like one of the coolest jobs, to be a lighthouse keeper.
it is
It's
cool. It is
on
cool.
my bucket list. It's
Yeah,
so weird, but I love that. That's so fascinating.
yeah,
So
it's
I
pretty
know
good.
you jump around a little bit in genres and age range and stuff. So where's your happy place for that?
You know what? I'm a feeler, like, and I'm an INFP, like introverted feeling person. So really all of my decisions are not made by thinking. It's like, what do I feel like at the time? And also I write intuitively just from my muses. So it depends who's talking.
Right.
It really does. And so with this book 5, these, the guys just started talking again, and I'm like, I have to pick up book 5 now and work on it. Plus, I mean, I love these guys. They're just so much fun. So, yeah.
I can tell by the way that you talk about them, and you're like, I really just follow them. I just,
Yeah.
they're like your best friends, and I love that, and I hear that mostly from like indie authors, that are so connected to their characters. They're just like, I can't end it. Like they have more, story and adventures to go on and things to tell, which I love. But I can just hearing you talk about them and the way that you talk about your books, it's such a love for you, right? Because I just live vicariously through authors. Grammar and spelling aren't my strong suits by any means. But it's definitely one of those that I can feel how much you love to write in your characters and the genre that you write in. So I just thank you for sharing that with us and for coming on the conversation to talk to me and Greg, because I'm sure Greg is listening to this. It's been a wonderful conversation. I can't wait to see what else you have coming out next year and the excited adventures that you're going to take us on. But until then, everybody, Greg will be back on Thursday and we'll catch you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.